Hi everyone, welcome to Steve's Garage. In today's video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing a FITCAMX Dash Cam. It can record up to 4K, comes with an SD card, and can be paired with an app. Best of all, it has a simple plug-and-play installation and is unique to every car. So the final result is an integrated dash cam that looks like it came installed from the factory. Not only does it look clean, but if you live in a state where it's illegal to have something on the windshield or obstructing your view, this is a great solution. Full disclosure, FITCAMX reached out to me and sent me this camera to review and install on my 2020 Volvo XC90. I get to keep the camera, but I wasn't paid for this review, and I'm free to share my honest opinion. If you're interested in purchasing a camera for yourself, I have an affiliate link in the description, along with the coupon code Steve's Garage to get you an extra 8% off during checkout. Now let's get to unboxing. This is how the camera was shipped to me, but know that the size of the box will vary depending on your specific application. After opening the shipping box, you have a nice FITCAMX branded box, and inside that are two separate boxes for the camera and accessories, along with the instruction manual underneath. Nothing was damaged during shipping, and I assume they stick the accessories in their own box so that the camera can be wrapped with packing pillows and bubble wrap. Any order will come with what you see here, but it will vary depending on your specific application. The wiring harness will be vehicle specific. The basic idea is that you're tapping the rearview mirror for power, but instead of using wire taps, you have this nice clean harness. The camera is also vehicle specific. This one is quite small compared to some that I've seen that replace the entire sensor cover, but each will have two buttons, indicator LED lights, and come installed with a 64 gig micro SD card. It also comes with a micro SD to USB-A dongle, so you can take the card out of the camera and get the video files onto your laptop. They also supply you with the only tool you need for this job, which is this small trim pry tool. It's actually pretty nice quality. I normally throw install tools away, but I'll be keeping this one and putting it in the toolbox. And don't forget about the instruction manual. It's not an install guide, just an instruction manual for the camera and the app, but it is handy to keep around. As I mentioned earlier, the main point of these cameras is that they're all vehicle specific. For that reason, I won't be covering install here, but I did make a video for 2017 to 2022 XC90s. You can check that out here if that's the car that you own. I will say that installation was a breeze. It only took a couple minutes, and once I turned the car on, the camera was recording. The two buttons are easily accessed from the driver or passenger seat. One is a power button, and one restores the camera's factory settings. You shouldn't have to use the power button because the camera is supposed to turn on and off with the car. Mine did, and I had no problems with it. I did read some users having an issue with it, but as soon as they reset the camera, it worked fine. At this point, anytime you turn the car on, the camera is recording. You don't need the app to run the camera. You can pop that SD card out, plug it into your computer, and grab the files that way. Just a heads up, the video files do come in a .ts format. It's just because they record in loops and overwrite each other. That's not typically readable by computers. You'll need something like VLC Player to open the file and save it out as something like a .mp4. The other way to access video files is through the app. You can save videos to the app itself, you can download them to your phone, and it allows you to access the settings. So even though you don't need the app to run the camera, I highly suggest downloading it so that you can configure all the settings to your liking. The FITCAMX app is available for iPhone and Android, so no matter what you're running, you can download it. Once you download it, make sure your car is on, so the camera is on. You'll see a Wi-Fi network, connect to it. The password is most likely 123456. Once it's connected, you'll be able to access a live view of the camera through the app and configure all the settings you want. First, we'll check out Camera File. The Loop tab displays everything that the camera's recorded. Snapshots are photos that you've taken. Locked files are files that won't be overwritten. There's a G sensor in the camera. When it senses a hit, it will lock those files. That way, if you have something like a car accident, you don't have to worry about those videos being overwritten. Parking mode is probably self-explanatory, but it's videos that are taken when the car is parked. Some cars won't have this option. It depends on the power source. There's also a setting in the app that you have to enable, but essentially if the G sensor senses a hit when the car is parked, it'll turn the camera on and start recording. In the settings, you have the option for sound recording, speaker, photo resolution, video resolution, which is not 4K by default, so make sure you go in and change that, loop recording duration of 1 or 3 minutes, exposure compensation, which is probably handy for nighttime driving, as we'll talk about in a minute, timestamp options, collision sensing sensitivity, language, parking collision detection, and the Wi-Fi settings. Backing out to the homepage of the app, you have Album, which are all the videos that you've saved yourself, which are empty for me, and the More tab is app details and installation instructions. I have a Pixel 7 and thought that the app was running a bit slow at times. That being said, since I configured the camera and the settings, I haven't touched the app, so it's not a huge deal to me. I'm sure that app performance also depends on the phone model and how many Wi-Fi networks are interfering with your camera at the time. And now for the most important part of a dash cam review, driving footage. This video footage is straight out of the camera. The only thing I did was convert it from a .ts to a .mp4, that way I could view it and import it into the video editor. As you can see, the video looks great. You can easily make out plate numbers, street signs, pretty much anything you'd want out of a dash cam. Nighttime recording, on the other hand, will need a little tweaking. This nighttime footage and the previous daytime footage that I showed uses the default setting for exposure compensation. As you saw, the daytime footage was fine, but the nighttime footage doesn't quite work. If the light is shining directly on the plate, it's completely blown out. If you're moving, it doesn't work that well. If a car is stopped and next to you, not in direct light, it works a little better, but still not great. I don't know if that's a function of the plate style here, my bright LED headlights, or a combination of the two. Your best bet for nighttime recording is to go back to that exposure compensation setting and move the slider all the way up. It'll make your overall footage darker, but you'll have a much better chance of capturing a plate. Even after changing that setting, I still struggled to capture a plate if my headlights were shining directly on it, but I had a much better chance of capturing a plate if it was indirectly lit. I'm sure that the exposure setting varies greatly depending on your ambient lighting, the plate style, and your headlight style. I'm sure I would have a totally different experience if I tried this in a car with halogen headlights versus LEDs like on my Volvo. From the research that I've done about dash cams, most of them do struggle at night. Even regular cameras struggle at night, it's just the nature of how a lens works. For that reason, reading out plate numbers is a good habit to have. A dash cam can miss a plate even during the day, but if you read it out, now you have a verbal note in addition to your video. This camera does come with the ability to record sound, but the default setting is off, so make sure you enable that. While we're on the topic of nighttime driving, I want to touch on my one issue with this camera, and that's the indicator LED lights. They blink when the camera is recording, so at night my wife and I found that really distracting. Some people may not, but if you like a dark interior at night, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The smallest light, especially a constant blink, is just going to be a complete distraction. I do like having them, mostly so that I know that the camera is not recording when the car is off, but I had to figure out something at night, so I just stuck electrical tape over them for the time being. I contacted FITCAM tech support about this just to see what their reply would be. I asked if they could put it as a setting in the app, maybe disable it at night, or have a toggle switch to enable and disable them. They told me they would look into it, but they also offered to send me an updated firmware version that disabled them entirely. I didn't take them up on that because, like I said, I like the indicator LEDs and I don't mind the piece of electrical tape over it, but it's good to know they're responsive. Lastly, I just want to touch on two experiences I had right after I installed this camera and reasons I'm glad to have a dash cam. The first was a random slowdown on the highway in the middle of the day, no idea what was going on, until we came up on it and it was a random construction barrel in the middle of the highway. I was pretty impressed that the front camera actually captured this. I thought we would have needed a rear camera to see it, but the wide angle lens on this camera captured it and you can see it clear as day, a wild construction barrel in the middle of the highway. Thankfully I didn't see any car accidents, but I'm sure without video footage, no insurance company would believe that a construction barrel in the middle of a highway caused a bunch of car accidents. The second one was a day later on the same highway traveling in the opposite direction when we happened upon a car fire and smoke all across the highway. Again, I'm thankful there was no car accidents, especially with myself and my family, but I'm glad that the dashcam gives us the peace of mind that if something were to happen at a time like this, we have video proof that it wasn't our fault. After driving around with this dashcam for a couple of weeks, my only issue are those indicator LEDs at night. Besides that, this camera functions perfectly, everything works great, it's out of my eye line, and I'm not worried about someone breaking into the car to steal it because it looks OEM. If you're interested in one for your car, use my affiliate link in the description to see if they've got a compatible model. If you do decide to purchase, don't forget to use my coupon code STEVE'sGarage for an extra 8% off. Feel free to leave any questions or comments below. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching.